to Apca, Malaysia. I'm Chef Rob, and today I'll be teaching you some simple shaping of pasta. So today I'll be teaching you 4 simple shapes of pasta. I'll be showing you 2 shapes using the machine, which will be spaghetti and fettuccine, and I'll be showing you 2 shapes using my knife, which will be pappardelle and also farfalle. So for us to start this, I made some of our pasta dough from our recipe earlier on, and I dried it up slightly so it will be much easier for us to use. So first we put inside the machine on the largest setting, which is the first hole, and we begin to roll it through. As it rolls out, you must then feel. If it feels sticky at all, we can apply some flour. And do the same on the reverse side also. Then we fold it in half, press down, and we roll through again. Once you feel that the pasta dough doesn't feel so moist anymore, you can then move down to the third hole. So we skip the second hole and we place inside the machine, and again we roll through. Once the pasta gets to about this length, I will take a knife and cut in half and keep aside. Then with this pasta, I will then again jump 2 holes, so down to the 5th hole, and again I will roll through. So now I'm at the thinnest shape that I need to be at. So what I will now do is begin to fold it, pressing down. I will again apply a small amount of flour to both sides. Before resetting the machine. So we go back to the largest setting. After that, we have been rolling our dough in this direction the whole time, okay, like this. So now we will turn the dough and roll in the other direction. This will help to strengthen the gluten inside and give us a much chewier, springier texture. So after the first setting, we again jump to the third setting. And then down to the 5th setting, which will be our final setting. And then we roll it through. So now our pasta is ready for cutting. This is the correct texture that we want. The dough should feel very silky and smooth. So first we take our knife and we trim the edges. After this, you can then judge how long you want your pasta to be. So for me with this recipe, it's just nice that we cut in half and we can actually make 2 of the same size or shape of the pasta with 1 piece of dough. So I take my knife, I fold over. Once it matches, we press down gently, we fold it back, and where the crease is in the center, we make a small cut. Here now we have 2 of the same length of the pasta dough. So now what we can do is we come back to our machine and we'll start with fettuccine. So we take our pasta, we place inside the machine, and we hold it down while we gently roll it through. The pasta will come out the opposite side, so we catch it as it comes out. Then we have our perfectly cooked fettuccine. So now we will do the same with the second piece also. Okay, so now we have our fettuccine, so we can place it onto our board. And we just sprinkle a touch of flour over the top to help absorb any moisture from the air. So now we can move on to our second cut. So we take the other half of our first pasta dough that we rolled, we reset the machine, so we fold it back again, and then we will begin to roll. So if it doesn't feel sticky, you can just continue to roll. Down to the third hole. Again, you do your checks. Then finally down to the fifth hole. So again, we have our finished setting for pasta. So we do the same thing. We will fold it and press to ensure that we strengthen the gluten. This is a very, very crucial part of making pasta to achieve that perfect texture. We can apply some flour. Most of the time you will need to apply your flour at the beginning when you're drying the dough, or any time where you are folding it or rolling it back up and you're going to put it through the largest setting. The flour will help to prevent the pasta dough from sticking to the rollers and your pasta breaking apart. So again, we can reset. And we begin to roll through from the first hole to the third hole. And finally to the fifth hole. So we need to repeat the same thing. We trim away the edges so that we have a nice straight line. And then we will fold the dough in half again. Make a small crease as we open back up. We can again down, giving us 2 equal sizes of pasta dough. So for this one now we will make our spaghetti. So again, this is the second technique using the machine. So we complete by putting inside the roller and just gently rolling through, collecting from this other side to ensure that it doesn't stick together. So here we have our spaghetti. So now I will repeat the process with the second part. We press, and once it begins to pull, we can let go and start collecting from the second side. So now we have our spaghetti, so we can move this onto our board. And again, we take a little bit of flour, we just sprinkle over to ensure any surface moisture is absorbed. So next, I will show you two techniques using the knife. So first we take our pasta dough, we reset our machine, and we apply a small layer of flour to both sides. And then we can begin rolling on the largest setting. So we check if there is a bit of stickiness, we apply the flour and rub that through. And the same for the second side also. Before we fold this, press down and roll through on the largest setting. Once you feel there is no more stickiness, we can begin to roll on the third setting, or the third hole. So again, we do our check. If all is okay on both sides, we can move down to the fifth setting. But before this, we will first cut our pasta dough and work with it in two parts. So again, we place our dough in the machine on the fifth hole this time. And we roll this out. And then we can fold it. Make sure everything's tucked in nicely. We apply our very small amount of flour onto both sides. And we reset the machine again. We turn the direction and we begin to roll the pasta through. From the first hole to the third hole. And then finally down to the fifth hole. And then now we can pull our pasta out and it's ready for shaping. So again, first thing we must do is trim away our rough edges on both sides. And then fold in half to get equal length. And then we make our cut down that center there. So now we have our two halves again. You can see that are equal lengths. Okay? So the next part is that we need to cut our pappardelle by hand. Okay? So we take our pasta and we fold it, not applying too much pressure. So we can make around 3 folds. And then the first thing we will do is just gently trim away the edge so that we have a flat surface to work from. And we don't apply too much pressure here now because later on the noodles will stick together. So we just gently rest and then we measure up. Make a small cut to separate them. And from here we can slowly unravel. So here we have our pappardelle. So now we can do the same with the second half. Okay? So again, we do our folding. And we roll it through. If you're not happy with the shape of your pasta, reapply the pressure, reset the machine, and roll it through again. Okay, so now we can do the same, where we trim first the edges. And then we make our fold with light pressure. Trim away the edge. And then we can cut our noodles. So after we unwrap them, what we will do is just apply a small layer of flour to the top. And here we have our pappardelle. So we can roll those up and keep on our board. And there's many different lengths that you can have. Here I show you just two options. One that is slightly shorter and one that is slightly longer. Okay, so now that we've done our pappardelle, we can move on to the last one, which is our farfalle. So for anybody that doesn't know, the farfalle is a little bow tie shaped pasta. For this version, I will be showing you with a straight edge, but you can also have a serrated edge if you wish to. So for this, I take my pasta. Again, I reset the machine. So I begin to roll through. I move down to the third hole again. And again to the fifth hole. After that, we will do our final folding. Apply a small amount of flour. Reset the machine, and then we roll it through again. So from the first setting, We go down to the third setting. And lastly, the fifth setting. So from here now, what we need to do is again make our trimming on the edges. And then once we have our pasta, we need to measure up. Now, there is many different sizes you can do for farfalle. So it's totally up to you on the size that you actually want to have as your end result. So there's not so much of a need for consistency here. So what we do first is we make a small cut, and then we can measure up. And we use the one that we've already cut as like a template. So it helps us to get very similar sizes. So once we have our pasta like this, we can keep some aside for when we need it. And we take one first as an example. So now we're going to cut it in the opposite direction. So we trim away the edges so that we have a nice rectangle. After that, you measure and you cut again. From each rectangle, you will maybe get around 2 pieces that are suitable for your farfalle. So then what we're going to do is we will take a spoon, and using the soft edge of the spoon, we will just hold in place while we push and make a crease in the center, and we do the same with the opposite end using our finger also. After that, we press gently in the middle, and then we get our bow tie. So again, same thing, we make our crease, and again we press against our finger, to help give us that bow tie shape. So I can repeat with as many pieces as I feel is necessary. So again, I make my cuts, I keep aside my trimmings, and again I press until you have a nice even meeting in the center. Once that is achieved, you just press down slightly on the center part to make sure everything sticks together. This is our end result for our farfalle. So we can take that and place that on the board also. Hope you enjoy making this at home. Thank you for watching and hope to see you again soon.